Jennifer here, and I'm back with another recommendation. This week is Asian Pacific Heritage Month, and so I went ahead and looked through our overdrive and tried to see what foreign films that we had on there. Luckily, I came upon a movie that I have been wanting to watch for the longest time, and I just haven't had a moment to actually watch it. The movie is called The Host by director Bong Joon-ho. If you think you've never heard of this director, he actually has done quite a few things, especially recently. He has a movie on Netflix called Okja, which was a really good movie. He's done the English language film Snowpiercer starring Chris Evans, and most recently his film Parasite won the Academy Award for Best Picture. I've seen all three of these films. I loved all three of these films. And so when I found out that he created a monster movie way back when, I was 100% on board. I love monster movies. I love horror movies in general, and I specifically adore monster movies. I love Godzilla. I love Cloverfield. Don't at me about if you hated Cloverfield, because I love that movie. I know it has all of its flaws, but I think it's still a really good movie and I watch it all the time. Bong Joon-ho's movies typically are packed filled with so many different themes, and this movie was no different. You think you're getting just a typical monster movie, and you find out that there are political undertones, there's government cover-ups, there's social commentary, there's familial commentary. There's so much going on in this movie. It's intense. Because of that, if you've ever seen any of his previous films before, you know they're kind of more on the adult level. The commentary and themes in a lot of the movies are better understood as an adult, so I would recommend it as an adult movie. The Host opens up with, I believe, an American lab that's in South Korea, and one of the scientists says he hates dust, he hates seeing it, and all of these bottles of formaldehyde that are just laying around that are covered in dust need to be dumped. He tells another individual that he needs to dump it into the sink, and the other individual tells him all of these pipes and drains lead to the Han River, and so maybe putting a dangerous chemical into the sink might not be the best idea. The other scientist tells him, I don't care what you have to say, I am the boss and I told you to do this and you better go do this. So you find out over the course of 4 years what this dangerous chemical has done to the population inside the Han River. There's a moment where there's two fishermen that are just out fishing and they see something in the water. You don't really see what it is, but they make commentary about how it looks weird, it looks mutated, it has multiple fins, it tries to bite them, and then it ends up just kind of running away. So the year is 2006, this is 4 years after they started dumping the formaldehyde, and this movie turns into a creature feature. The main people in this movie is the Park family. There's 5 of them. There is a grandfather, there is the oldest of 3 siblings named Gong-do, and he is a father to a young girl named Hyun-seo. And then there is the aunt who is named Nam-jun, and then there is a brother named Nam-mil. This is basically a family of misfits. Nam-mil is kind of an alcoholic and doesn't even have a job, even though he has a college degree. Gong-do is the opposite of a great father. He loves his daughter beyond belief, don't get me wrong, but he is not a father figure for her. She very much knows how to take care of herself. He misses her school events and instead sends somebody else to go because he really just can't be bothered. And for the most part, he just kind of sleeps all day. The sister is a famous archer, but even she chokes up last second when it comes to her tournaments. So typically, even though she gets far, most people don't expect much out of her as far as her winning an entire tournament herself. The only thing that this family has going for it, the only thing that keeps them together is this little girl. She is the shining beacon to this family. While Gong-do and his grandfather are managing a food stall right next to the Han River, a monster shows up. And its only desire in the entire film is to eat. It's an animal, it's hungry. So the monster emerges and basically the entire area next to the Han River where they are at goes crazy and it's chaos. There's people running, they're trying to hide, the monster's eating everybody. And even in this moment, you get a good idea of the character of Gong-do. There's a moment where there's so much chaos going on and people are trapped in this truck. And there is a gentleman who is at the front who is like, I have to help these people. I need to do something. And his girlfriend's like, no, don't go. And he's like, no, I have to. And in the foreground is Gong-do, who is trying to run, and a woman is stopping him and she's like, please, you have to help. You need to do something, please. Just don't stand there, please do something. And he reluctantly gets involved. He tries to kind of fight the monster a little bit, but in the end, everybody just runs for it. He's making a run for it. And at the same time, Hyun-seo comes out of the little stall and she's just kind of looking around and is like, what's going on? What's happening? And I'm like, get it together. Do you not see the crowd of people that are running and screaming around you? You need to run and scream too. Why are you just standing there? I don't understand. I never understand this. I try to tell everybody, if you see a crowd of people running, you run. You don't even think about it. Don't question it. Just start running. You can question it later. So Gong-do comes out. He grabs Hyun-seo because she's just standing there and starts running off with her to try to get her to safety. He ends up falling, in which case he falls all the time in this movie. I mean, every situation he is falling all the time. If there's one thing Gong-do is good for, it's a trip. So he grabs Hyun-seo, he's running, they fall, he gets up, he grabs her hand again and starts running again. In this moment, he looks back and he realizes he's not holding his daughter's hand anymore. It's some other little girl. And then he looks even further back and he realizes he left his daughter behind. And my stomach just dropped. The monster ends up grabbing Hyun-seo and taking off. They think she died. So this moment brings all the siblings together and the grandfather. And they are all being quarantined off in this facility by the government. And there's a wall of pictures of all the people that have possibly died in this event. And of course, Hyun-seo's picture is there as well. Once the other siblings see her picture on the wall, they all break down crying. Then it's a blame game. They're all inconsolable. They're screaming, they're crying, they're mad at each other. And this entire time, there's just photographers that are surrounding them and taking pictures of their misery and their sorrow, and it's so sad. You see things like that a lot, where people take advantage of other people's misfortunes. So while everybody's being quarantined off, in the dead of night, Gong-do gets a phone call from Hyun-seo. She manages to find a phone, calls her dad, is crying, and tells him she's alive. She's scared. She doesn't know where she's at. She's somewhere in a big sewer and she needs help. And the rest of the movie goes on from there, where this whole family tries to get it together to save their little beacon of light. I'm not gonna give you any more spoilers about the movie. This was all relatively just the beginning part. There's a lot more that happens. There's some things that I really appreciate with this director and the way that he portrays people. There's a lot of moments where somebody will step up and they're like, I'm going to do it. I am going to like be the savior of these people, and it just does not pan out the way that you would think. And you think that with everybody in this family, you had one job and you keep messing it up. But that is the reality of the situation. Yes, you can step up to be a hero, but the average person, even when you try, is not gonna have this big one moment that's gonna save everybody. That's not how it usually works. I also will say, if you've ever seen any of Bong Joon-ho's movies, you know there is no such thing as a happy ending. You get a happy-ish type ending and sometimes a hopeful type ending, but things generally don't work out with a pretty little bow like it would if it was like a Disney movie or something. Not everything always gets resolved, and sometimes the things that get resolved don't resolve the way that you want them to, but that is just life. Anyway, I really enjoyed this movie. It was really intense. It had my heartstrings going so many times, and there were so many times where I was just like, oh my gosh, I don't understand. I basically watched the movie like this. It is a Korean film, so please be aware that the film is in Korean and it has English subtitles. So if you're not into reading subtitles, this might not be the movie for you. I watch a lot of foreign films in many different countries. I prefer to watch things in the original language that they are created in, so it didn't bother me at all. Also, as much as this is a creature feature, the creature really isn't that scary. So if you're here just specifically to see a scary monster do some damage, you might be a little bit disappointed. I feel that the horror aspects in the movie are more to do with the way people handle paranoia and the way that people act when they're scared. But all in all, I thought it was a great movie. I would definitely watch it again. I'm actually gonna make my mom watch it later because now that I've watched it, I was like, man, I should have watched it with her because she would have really liked it. Make sure you check out all of our content on Overdrive. Again, like always, we have a ton of things on there. Ebooks, e-audiobooks, movies for you to stream. There is so much on there. See you again soon. I'll see you later. Bye.